Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive insights from the unseen, and we go as guided. And this is an action-packed moment. From last week with this week, the energies, and you'll see. So we're going to cover 3-4 things pretty in depth and broadly. We're going to look at our main theme, the color purple. We're going to look at this just occurred on Monday, the Mars-Uranus ALGOL conjunction. We're going to look at the upcoming Capricorn full moon. And we're going to look at hexagram 23, splitting apart, which we've covered. However, there's some major energies going on. And there always has been in Weekly Wisdom and Insights with the unseen guiding us every week. The message keeps getting louder and louder. And you may ask, what is that message? Well, to align with your soul source connection and to make a choice about the life you wish to lead, the world you wish to live in, because from August of 17 with that eclipse, and then the bookending one that just occurred this year, 7 years later, that message of we're drawing a line in the sand, you're being seen, you're being counted, and how our choices, our words, our actions, and how we lead matters and is defining. And so welcome, Olivia. As you're joining, place in the comments a hello, and remember that we incorporate your comments and questions throughout the broadcast. So we've got a lot to jump into. We are going to start. Olivia is just saying, last week, didn't you say that you kept hearing boom, 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 double boom? That's an ongoing theme that has been playing out, that things will come in pairs and so forth. So don't know that I mentioned it last week, but it's definitely been a theme. Let's jump in. We're going to go retro here for a minute, and you're going to see why. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to talk initially. We're going to look at the current energies, then we're going to back up last week, and this is coming from Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. Welcome, Alicia. And the minute I saw this image on her current, it's this week's North Point Journal, and it's a photo by Jack B on Unsplash, it just screamed the color purple, which was quite interesting because literally it conjured the movie, the 1985 film, The Color Purple. And after last week's show, I sit for a moment to see what's coming up for the next week's show. And the unseen had already said purple. So here this came into alignment, this the color purple. Beautiful image. So here's Pam, and she says, a dynamic week. We are entering a highly impactful week, a time of major transitions. The third week of July is destined to be historical right from the start, with the explosive Mars-Uranus conjunction perfecting on Monday, July 15th. And that Mars-Uranus conjunction is conjunct ALGOL. I'll get to that in a minute. Not to be outdone, the closing scenes of the week's dramas are under the direction of a transformational Pluto-powered full moon that perfects on Sunday, July 21st. That's upcoming. So in essence, the full moon and Pluto are going to be conjunct next to one another. Surprising or shocking events can occur when there are interactions between forceful Mars, the planet of personal will, and sideways spinning Uranus, the planet known for breaking rules. It also denotes Uranus also represents the higher mind. Since the energies of their alignment have been building over the past week or so, we've already seen its effects in the larger world and in smaller ways, too. Putting together the key words associated with Mars and Uranus, we can expect surprising or impulsive actions, shocking events that require urgent response, explosive episodes, unpredictable or antisocial behaviors, unrealistic risks, radical or aggressive tendencies, strongly independent or rebellious activity, and emotional extremes. And of course, we've already seen on the world stage things that speak to this. There are positive potentials of this Mars-Uranus influence as well. A sudden breakthrough, daring to step out into the unknown, standing strong in one's independence, courageous authenticity, and the willingness to begin anew without a safety net. And since the higher expression of transpersonal Uranus is the universal mind, we may also receive profound insights and innovative ideas that inspire a significant change in our life path as the planet aligns with Mars. So this is both, shadow and light. We're drawing a line in the sand. You're being seen. You're being counted. Choose. And so, and that message from the unseen, and really the imploring us, they are imploring us to choose the purity of the void, the purity of the light, the purity of the path, the way. Not a way, not my way, not the highway, not separation and division and oppression and suppression. Because, again, the color purple, and we're going to see how not just the movie reference, but the actual literal color purple and its meaning as well coming up. So let me just bounce very quickly here to last week's North Point Journal with Pam Youngins. And she covered the ALGOL effect. ALGOL is a fixed star in the head. It's in the constellation Perseus, and it's in the head of Medusa. An especially notable feature of this Mars-Uranus alignment, which occurs at 26 degrees Taurus, is that the two planets are at the same degree as the fixed star ALGOL. In ancient astrology, almost all the stars were assigned unsavory qualities, with ALGOL being associated with misfortune and danger. However, modern astrology is not nearly as black and white in its assessments, preferring to acknowledge positive potentials rather than only focusing on the unfavorable. And there's a moment here where the unseen is speaking to, when we go back to ancient Persia, Babylonia, the ancients of astrology and so forth, they were ruled by the stars. They were guided by them. And so while modern astrology is speaking to more positive aspects, and yes, there are always the positive sides of it, they also speak to the awareness of the dangers. And so again, how do you take something that's negative and utilize it in a positive manner, meaning to see its messages, its warning, its negative, so that we see its contrast. The fixed star ALGOL is located in Medusa's head, part of the Perseid constellation. While most of us may be familiar with the myth of Medusa and how anyone who looked upon her face would be turned to stone, there is more to the story. Medusa was a beautiful priestess who served in the temple of the goddess Minerva. After Medusa was violated by Poseidon, Minerva blamed her for what happened. She put a curse on Medusa that turned her hair into snakes and took away her beauty. It was after this transformation that anyone who looked upon Medusa's face was turned to stone. even after the priestess was beheaded by Perseus. But Medusa's myth has an intriguing twist at this point. When she was killed, the winged horse Pegasus flew out from her body. This symbolized immortality, the embodiment of the divine, and the ability to master both earth and sky. It is from this turn of the story that we derive the positive attributes of the fixed star ALGOL. These include strength, confidence, and the power of the feminine, the ability to rise above victim consciousness, magical transformations, Pegasus, and the development of spiritual abilities. So, and this is from astrologyking.com regarding the Mars-Uranus ALGOL conjunction. And it says, this conjunction will cause exciting events. Positive aspects could bring sudden promotion and success, while challenging aspects could bring unexpected danger. Fixed star ALGOL at 26 degrees, 30 arc minutes Taurus adds determination, courage, and fearlessness, but increases the risk of impulsiveness, accidents, and aggression. ALGOL causes misfortune, violence, decapitation, hanging, electrocution, and mob violence. This combination could cause sudden assaults, military attacks, explosions, and assassinations. So, with all of that, this Mars-Uranus ALGOL conjunction, I was sitting there listening, and the unseen said, looking back no longer, no more, look away. So the unseen here is talking about the past, where we've been. They're saying, look back no longer, no more, look away. And of course, it instantly conjured that when you look at Medusa, you turn to stone. So, and they're saying, look away. We're not returning to the past. We are welcoming, meeting, greeting, and ushering in the future. And that is equally true of ourselves, literally ourselves, and the greater whole of the whole. Because, again, the arc of destiny moves forward. We are not going back. It may look that way, but just imagine this. If you were able to just turn the dial back, why would we go back and repeat? The whole point of bringing up Pluto retrograde is bringing up the things that have been hidden. Not so we go back and repeat them again and relive them or freeze time, but to transcend them, purify them, release them. It's not to hold to them. It is to move forward. However, in moving forward, we learn from our choices. I don't use the word mistakes because everything is a choice. So we utilize our choices from the past to navigate our future path, our future destiny. We don't go back and relive it. So with this Mars-Uranus ALGOL, looking back no longer, no more, look away. We move forward. Now let's move into our main theme because it's so beautiful. And here is this exact same image. I saw it, as I said, with Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. It immediately spoke to me about the 1985 film, The Color Purple. And the unseen said, The Color Purple, an arousing thunder. So in essence, this Mars-Uranus ALGOL on Monday the 15th of July and the upcoming Capricorn full moon on the 21st of July. The color purple, an arousing thunder. A lot action-packed. This action-packed moment, energy, moment in time. And so as we look at the color purple, it's from the 1985 film. And It was directed by Steven Spielberg. It had an incredible cast: Whoopi Goldberg, Danny Glover, Oprah Winfrey, Margaret Avery. There's so many. The moral of the story for us about that image, The Color Purple, was that the story, the film, and it was based on the book by Alice Walker. It was about domestic violence, incest, child sexual abuse, poverty, racism, sexism, shadow elements, deep shadow elements. And yet, it triumphed. It was equally, if not more, about hope, faith, courage, strength, liberty, freedom, forgiveness, redemption, reconciliation. There were so many beautiful attributes in this film about overcoming the shadow, overcoming the past, overcoming oppression, suppression, enslavement. And the unseen has been talking to us over and over and over again about Exodus, deliverance, revelation, deliverance, going from enslavement to deliverance, liberation. And so and this is epitomizing. So if you haven't seen this film, go watch it. If you have seen this film, go watch it again. Because the message here is about overcoming the moment, the time, circumstance. And again, micro, our individual lives; macro, the whole of the whole, the moment, really the eon, because it's not just a limited finite moment. In current world affairs, it's like and this was done, the film is based on the early 1900s. So pre-women's suffrage, pre-women's right to vote, pre-civil rights, gay rights, pre-rights. And so we look at this, and then let's look at The Color Purple from a biblical standpoint, because it's referenced, I believe, close to 50 times in the Bible. And it says, in the Bible, purple holds significant symbolism and is associated with royalty, nobility, remember, noblesse oblige, nobility, and sacred priesthood. There are various shades of purple mentioned, each with its significance. One notable shade is royal purple, a deep and rich hue representing power, dignity, and wealth. It was highly sought after during ancient times and reserved for kings and nobles. The Roman emperor's robes were often dyed in this regal color. Another shade is violet, a lighter and softer purple. In the Bible, violet is linked to the tabernacle and the priesthood. The curtains and veils of the tabernacle were made of violet fabric, signifying the separation between the holy place and the most holy place. It also represented the sacred and spiritual aspects of worship. In all its shades, purple conveys a sense of majesty, authority, and holiness. It symbolizes the connection between earthly power and divine authority. It serves as a reminder that God's kingdom is the ultimate source of royalty and nobility. In Christian theology, purple is often associated with Master Jesus as the King of Kings. It represents his sovereignty and authority over all creation. The color purple also signifies Lent's penitential season, during which Christians reflect on their sins and prepare to celebrate Christ's resurrection. The color purple, an arousing thunder. Arousing means to evoke, to awaken. And I want to take us right to our key word, because our key word is illumination. And in that, we have this beautiful aspect of, and it ties to the Sabian symbol for Mercury on this upcoming Capricorn full moon. Illumination, intellectual or spiritual enlightenment, the quality or state of having or giving off light, a statement that makes something clear, the action of illuminating or state of being illuminated. So again, the unseen is speaking to us about illumination, the color purple, and arousing to evoke or awaken thunder. And it's hexagram 51 in the I Ching, thunder, shock and awe associated with the tower in the tarot. And yet it's here's on 715, so it's mirror. 15 means humility. 15, the Mars-Uranus ALGOL conjunction. 51, an arousing thunder. And so we're looking at this, and the unseen is saying to us that they're screaming at us. And it's the second thing that the unseen said that they offered, the intuitive insights. Underlined, all capital letters, a wake-up call. And then they said, dream a little dream of me, which they have brought up before. It's by the mamas and the papas. So this color purple and arousing thunder, a wake-up call. This is a wake-up moment. We saw on the world stage on the weekend an assassination attempt. All of this darkness, all of this division and hate and oppression, this wanting to turn back, not only turn back time, but in essence, cling to it, cling to a time that we have already lived. Why? Because there's fear about losing power and control, about everyone having a seat at the table, about equality and justice and equanimity, about the divine feminine, about leading with our heart, with our soul. Compromise, collaboration, unity, coming together. There's references in the Bible, we are only as strong as the weakest among us. So this oppression and suppression and clinging to control and everything, that's not power, that's not strength. It's brute force. It's the least among us because it's the shadow aspect of it. It's the least among us because it oppresses and suppresses and divides us. And the unseen is saying to us, the color purple. Remember its association, both from the movie, biblically, the color. It's reminding us of our nobility, our divinity, our strength, our courage, noblesse oblige, our obligation to care for one another, to care for ourselves in a manner that uplifts us, that raises us up. Getting a little tongue-tied there. So we have this wake-up call. And then in the movie from 1985, The Color Purple, there's this beautiful moment. And there's a song, and it's called Maybe God is Trying to Tell You Something. It was written by Quincy Jones. And in the movie, the character Shug Avery is singing it. And there's a line that says, "Speak, Lord, speak to me." So in essence, the unseen, the all that is, God, Allah, Buddha, the symphony, may be trying to tell us something. No maybes. They are trying to tell us something. They are trying to wake us up before it's too late. They are imploring us to choose the purity of the void and the purity of the light, to choose to usher in a future with joy and excitement, with anticipation. It may be unknown to us. It may scare us. It may cause us to want to cling to something that we know, the past. But we don't. Who wants to relive the past? We've already been there, done that. We've already done it. The joy is the excitement and the anticipation of what's to come. Not a repeat of a repeat of the past or a clinging to the past, but literally the train station. I'm going to bring up the beautiful image, remember, from last week's show. Here's the train. It's on this expansive bridge over an abyss, and people are clinging, hanging outside the train by their fingernails, by their fingertips, hanging on by a thread, and that train is at the end of the line. It's going nowhere fast. Nowhere. Dead end. It's the end of the line. And directly opposite the platform is that beautiful new modern bullet train. And everybody over there on that train is sitting there smiling, and they're content and they're happy. And there's an anticipation and an excitement and a joy because it is going somewhere. It leads to to eternity, because it's everything that's before us. That's a massive message from all of this week. So maybe God is trying to tell you something. Speak, Lord, speak to me. The unseen, your soul, listen, whether it's in your individual, again, micro, your individual life, or the macro, the whole of the whole. Listen to your soul. Listen to what your soul is imploring you to do, not do, to undertake, to rise to, and harness fear. Fear is your friend. It's everything's energy. So fear is simply energy. How do we interact with it? How do we harness it? Not to immobilize us, but to propel us forward, to refine us, not define us. Olivia is saying, for the beauty of redemption and going full circle that she has recently watched. Yes, you cry at the end every single time. I do. And The Color Purple is what Olivia is speaking to. And it is about redemption and forgiveness and empowerment, overcoming. There's so much in that movie. So let's go to, and just to remember, last week our key word was Renaissance, the French word for rebirth. So this is about a rebirth, a renewal, a launching into the new. It is not about going back or going backwards. It may look that way, but that's not the case. Okay, so here's the main energies. So we are looking at, here we go. So it's a 7-month, all month long, armies and legions, correct discipline, taking the right actions, the right steps at the right time, and we have everything we need. 17, following, show by example. It's follow, be led. It's literally following your soul, aligning your ego, mind, personality in service to your soul. 8, unite, coming together. 23, splitting apart. This splitting apart from the past. Remember, look back no longer, no more. Look away. We split apart from the past. We don't, throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's not about that. It's just about, remember, I believe it's Sodom and Gomorrah, and God had told Lot and his wife Sarah, don't look back. Lot and his daughters didn't. His wife did, and she turned to a pillar of salt. Medusa, when you looked at it, you turned to stone. So there are references where when you look back, or when you try to go back, retain the past, hold on to the past, all these things, the message biblically, historically is, you turn to a pillar of salt, you turn to stone, you're toast. However, when you don't look back and you move forward, you have the faith to move forward, the whole world opens before you. So hexagram 23, the splitting apart. And then it all boils down, the 2 and the 3 becomes a 5, nourished while waiting, patience, because we are, remember, Pluto retrograde, and all of this occurring, all of this happening, because we're going back to shake the tree one last time. They were talking about Proud Mary with Tina Turner. You want us to do this nice and easy. So we'll start off nice and easy. We're going to finish nice and rough. Well, this shaking of the tree. There was even a reference at a current convention that if they were to lose, they would lose their minds. Well, the whole message, and this isn't political, this is just reference. What that is speaking to is the past. This clinging and cleaving to the past. So it would make sense that one might lose their mind when they're hanging on by a thread because they're trying to maintain control and power and so forth for a time and an era that we've already lived. And yet there's joy before all of us. There's opportunity and joy. You just have to choose it by opening, allowing, and choosing the present future. Build upon the past, but walk into the present future. So let's look at hexagram 23 because it's a beautiful reference here. And this is from Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com. So it's hexagram 23 is split apart. It's action, regenerate. So we have this renewal, regeneration. It's hidden influence. It's the divine feminine, receptive, yield. Yield to the divine feminine, to your intuitive nature and knowing, to your soul source connection. Its underlining cause, determination, breakthrough. A determination to break through, liberation, release, freedom. We have Exodus, we have deliverance. One of our first quotes, and it says, life is a quarry out of which we are to mold and chisel and complete a character. This is by Goff. Well, beautiful image of a human's hand molding and shaping clay. We are molding and shaping not only our individual lives, but the world, the greater whole, the world that we live in. And it's, again, the unseen imploring us, what does that look like? What do you want it to be? Do you want it to be a world, and do you want your life to be a world of peace and harmony and unity and opportunity and goodness? All of these positive opportunities, words, energies. Or do you want it to be obstruction and oppression and suppression and all of this domineering shadow? Because the best of the divine masculine is strength, courage, leadership. The worst of it, its shadow, control, manipulation, fear, domination, oppression, suppression. What world, what life are you choosing? Because there's a wake-up call. God is trying to tell you something. We're drawing a line in the sand. You're being seen. You're being counted. And thereby, Olivia's saying light kills the shadow. It purifies it. Light literally purifies the shadow. It dissipates it. And it returns the void to its purity. So here we are, hexagram 23. There are times when disintegration or letting go is the only pathway to regeneration. Po, splitting apart, is a message about how things become stronger by removing outgrown elements. Pruning a tree allows its branches to become more luxuriant. In this situation, there is a need to release what is outworn or which no longer serves you so that you can return to a path that is more fulfilling. So we are witnessing and bearing witness to the past and what is diminishing and what is going, what is being released. You may understand that change must come while clinging to the illusion of what you need. the image of the train over on the bridge over the abyss, hanging on by a thread, while clinging to the illusion of what you need. During the time, because it's an illusion of what you need. Key point. During the time of splitting apart, you will discover new life stirring beneath the mind's abstractions. Sincerity is the stirring of your authenticity. It is something which is shaped by feelings, not mind. The receptive, yield to the receptive. Your soul source connection is a feeling, it's a knowing. It's not a thought. It's not the mind. The mind may be looking for a breakthrough, but opening will occur in the heart. So again, your ego, mind, personality may be telling you got to cling to this illusion of the past because I'm afraid. I'm going to lose control and power. I won't be who I am anymore. However, the intuitive knowing, the soul source connection, calm, true north, absolutely resolute, centered, innocent, pure, good, will lead you, will guide you, will deliver you. Because it is in concert with higher mind, God mind, Uranus, the higher mind. And here's Mars coming together. So here's God, here's higher mind coming together. The best of the best of divine masculine coming together with higher mind, universal mind. With ALGOL, the highest aspects to say, look back no longer, look no more, look away, move forward. It's heart-centered. It's the higher mind. They're screaming at us to do so. Splitting apart reveals how sensitivity funds the urge for transformation. It is not an intellectual endeavor, ego, mind, personality. Splitting apart is your willingness to remain compassionate in all you do. It's about being kind with ourselves, kind with others as we split apart from the past, as we prune away what's no longer necessary or needed, while we mature, advance, regenerate, renew. Following the energy of life becomes a profound exercise in learning to overturn your mindset. Splitting apart is how the protective covering of the past is removed so you may grow to meet the future. This is our second quote. The same hand that is forced open to give will now be open to receive. The same hand that is forced open to give will now be open to receive. It's speaking to the fact that, a clenched fist, it's not open to receive anything. It's the stance for fighting, for defending oneself, for aggression. But the open hand is the symbol to receive. It's safe, it's secure, it's welcoming. And that open hand means that we will receive the greatness and the goodness before us. Whatever it is, let it go so that your inner garden may be cultivated. Allow the way to guide you toward the appropriate path. Remember, your soul source connection, the all that is, knows the way. The truth, the way, highest and best, true north, can never be anything but that. It will never lead you astray. So let's look at the astrological influences. And this was so beautiful. And we've been covering this. And what I heard with them is make a wish. And so with the Mars-Uranus ALGOL conjunct and Mars entering Gemini, and then it's a second Capricorn full moon. The first full moon occurred in the early degrees, very early degrees of Capricorn on June 21st. This next full moon in Capricorn, and that's fairly rare that you have two full moons in the same month, in the same sign, Capricorn. So it was this make a wish. So there's all this auspiciousness, this opportunity for growth and renewal and so forth. And then Make a Wish is literally, it's a foundation, it's a nonprofit that speaks to children that have illnesses or life-threatening illnesses, where community and unity, individuals come together to make their wish come true, for them to experience something before they might transition. And so here we are at this cusp of a massive transition. And the unseen is saying to us, make a wish. And so the wish can be for peace, for advance, for purity, for greatness, for forgiveness. Whatever it may be, make a wish. And with the Capricorn, with this second being the second full moon in Capricorn, it can also be associated with a blue moon. And it says every full moon, this is from yogajournal.com, every full moon carries potent energy, often signifying completion and culmination. But the blue moon, with its exceptional status, is believed to bless us with a touch of luck and enchantment. Make a wish. This cosmic rarity is often linked to heightened clarity and a profound connection to the divine, a window into the ethereal where our intentions can thrive, a window into the ethereal. This is representative of the symbol for Chiron, and you'll understand why in a moment, the Sabian symbol for Chiron. While the spiritual correspondence and intentions associated with the blue moon can differ based on various traditions, certain themes often emerge across cultures. It typically resonates with the concept of, of growth and wisdom, a time of second chances. Olivia, boom, boom. Second chances and embracing renewed opportunities, a cosmic, quote, bonus round, if you will. So there is this opportunity for advance, for hopes and dreams and wishes. We only need choose it. Let's go to the astrological chart. And here, this is for the Capricorn full moon that's coming up on July 21st. And what you want to look at very beautifully is you have the opposition, because the full moon and Pluto are in the top left. They're conjunct at 29 degrees and 0 degrees, directly opposite, opposing the sun. And if you look at the bottom left, if there's another red line that is between Uranus and Venus. Well, Uranus and Mars and Venus. So, but we're going to look at two things that we've already mentioned. And the first one is the symbol for Chiron, because in the middle, there's this beautiful blue X, like X marks the spot. And right at the blue X, it's directly across from the symbol for Chiron. Chiron's the wounded healer. And so what is this saying to us? What is the unseen speaking to, and what is the astrological chart speaking to? And so here with Chiron, it is, if I can get to it before I go over it very fast, sometimes a little too fast for my own good, so bear with me for a second. Here we are. Blown inward by the wind, the curtains of an open window take the shape of a cornucopia. Cornucopia, abundance. This is what we're talking about, abundance. Keynote, openness to the influx of spiritual energies. The principle of abundance is brought to further stage in this rather cryptic symbol. Physical fruition is shown operating at a more subtle and spiritual level. The wind, the pneuma, the spirit, blows through the open mind window and brings into the house of personality a promise of more than material potency. The Piscean patriarchal era is material, physical, material. And so we judge things externally by what we have, who we are, masks, labels, identities, all this stuff. But this is the higher mind, the pneuma, the spirit, coming through the personality, through the ego-mind personality, with a promise of something more than material potency. Wind blows from a region of high pressure to one of low pressure. As the window curtains are blown inward, the individual consciousness represented by the house is receiving a more concentrated influx of spiritual energies, enabling this consciousness to extend the scope of its awareness and creative expression. Its wounded healer, Chiron. So the higher mind, Mars and Uranus coming together, the divine masculine, higher mind coming together to blow through, to illuminate spirit, source, the unseen, because it's going to extend our consciousness and our scope of awareness and our creative expression. We're going to see things from the inside out. Who are we? Remember Billie Eilish and What Was I Made For? It's this awareness that says, I'm not these things. I'm not the house or that I live in, or the car that I drive, or the label, the position that I hold. That's all old news. That's ego, mind, personality, patriarchal, Piscean material. Well, who am I when all of that is stripped away? When all of that is gone, who am I? Who remains? What remains? It's there that you will find your true self, your true essence, your true character. What's at your center? It's the movie The Rise of the Guardians. This message applying to this fourth stage of the fivefold sequence is that inner growth demands not just an open mind, but one able to provide a container for a spiritual harvest. You've got to choose it. You've got to be willing to relinquish the past. You've got to be willing to move beyond your ego, mind, personality to receive the spiritual harvest of your soul source connection, your soul. The cornucopian shape of the window's curtains suggests that the subtler, translucent aspect of the mind, the curtains, has acquired a plastic quality, enabling it to be molded by transpersonal, the unseen, forces. It means that you're willing to embrace change, opportunity, possibility. You are actively placing your ego, mind, personality in the sidecar. Remember the motorcycle in the sidecar, allowing your soul source connection, your soul, to lead, probably for the very first time. However, that's what's on offer, and that is what the unseen is screaming to us. And I want to go to the first thing that the unseen said, which is, I am that I am. This comes from Exodus 3:14. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. Why are they saying this? Because for everyone that comes in awareness of these messages, the weekly wisdom and insights, the messages from the unseen, just like at the times of the Israelites enslaved in Egypt and the time of Moses, what the unseen is saying to us is, it's me. I am that I am. I'm delivering these messages to liberate you, to free you, to advance you, to move you forward. Is it effortless? Will we face challenge? I mean, they had the whole of the Egyptian army, the Pharaoh's army, coming after them. And yet the Red Sea was parted and they crossed, and then it closed upon those chasing them. They didn't take a direct route. They wandered about. Why? Because God was testing them, was testing their faith, was testing their tenacity, was saying, and every single time, here I am. You need water? Boom. You smite a rock and there's water. You need food? Boom, there's manna from the air. Everything you need. Legions, army, correct discipline. Everything you need is present. It's there. Are you doing what's necessary in concert with, in alignment with the unseen source, Yahweh, to receive what the promise is and was, which is the promised land, the land of milk and honey, deliverance? Are you doing it? Because there's a wake-up call. God's trying to tell you something, and here it is saying, I am that I am. Tell the people I am that I am. This is who is speaking to you. This isn't me, Dearjames. I'm not claiming in any way, shape, or form. I listen to the unseen and I tell you what they give me to tell you, the unseen. And they're making a reference to the fact that this moment is like that moment. This present day moment is like Exodus. There's an opportunity for liberation and advance and regeneration and renewal and so forth. Wake up. Wake up. Choose the liberation, the freedom, the cornucopia, the abundance. Because when you don't, we know what happened in the past. They wandered for 40 generations, for 40 years, 40 generations in the desert, because they lacked faith. They didn't honor what was before them. Pharaoh didn't part the sea. God did in the story, in Exodus. Pharaoh didn't smite the rock and get water. God did. Pharaoh didn't deliver manna. God did. So the moral here, the story is that it is not our world leaders, these people running for office and, heads of state and heads of corporations and so forth, doing these things, a la Pharaoh. It's the unseen doing them. Original intelligence, not artificial intelligence. And it's the recognition of that alignment, of that truth, that sets you free, that delivers you. Number 3 from the unseen, I loved this. I heard the word timber. And then it's the song from Keisha. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. This is the unseen speaking. This is I am that I am speaking. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. And so, in essence, I'm not going to use stuff's happening. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. Hexagram 51, an arousing thunder. If you're in the mine and things start shaking, you run. You run to safety. You advance. You move. You don't look back, lest you turn to a pillar of salt or a stone. So, let's see. We have one other thing to cover, and I'm looking for it because I told you this is action-packed. There's so much here. There is so much here. I want to cover one or two other Sabian symbols really quickly. And this is with So let's look at the moon. And again, this is Capricorn full moon. It's the second one. Make a wish, these blessings. The Sabian symbol, it's Dane red year and an astrological mandala. A secret meeting of men responsible for executive decisions in world affairs. This, you can't make this up if you tried. So the Sabian symbol for the moon on this upcoming Sunday's full moon, second Capricorn full moon. The keynote, the power to assume responsibility for crucial choices arrived at after mature discussions with those who share this power. It's responsibility, it's maturity, it's higher mind, it's the sharing of power, it's the respect and the responsibility, the accountability. This secretive meeting. And it says, we are all aware now of the work of secret committees in the White House and at all levels of the government. The student of esoteric philosophy believes in the existence of what has been called an inner government, which has the power to guide and direct the evolution of our planet and of mankind. Some people speak of occult wisdom hierarchy or of the White Lodge, meaning the White Brotherhood. It's an unseen, the elders of the unseen. Here again, what is at stake is a seeing through the facts of telluric processes and human history, assuming that these facts are at least in part the outcome of the decisions of a supreme council of quasi-divine beings. Obviously, the symbol can also refer to what occurs at the more ordinary level of business and politics. At any level, it refers to the highest form of social interaction. This is the last symbol belonging to the zodiacal sign Capricorn. We see in it the culmination of social responsibility and a reference to executive power. There's a lot within the United States, this conflict over executive power or granting executive power to the president where you become a king or something of this nature. Well, what this Sabian symbol, and it's the moon, it's the divine feminine, the unseen, how the unseen is guiding and directing the way. When we see in it the culmination of social responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. The Aquarian age, we the people. This has been the ideal, but we have failed the ideal in this current incarnation of this moment. It has been used and abused and run roughshod over, and we have distanced ourselves so far from the social responsibility that we are obligated with. If you're a leader of a business, a corporation, an institution, a government, you have and you shall be obligated. Noblesse oblige, you have an obligation to the social responsibility of your charges, your people, your citizens, your employees. The moon, this is the symbol for the moon, representing the divine feminine, revealing what might be hidden or what is hidden. And what this is revealing is, again, higher mind. We may associate this with Yahweh, with obviously the biblical references to the Exodus and Revelation deliverance, the promised land. However, the point is the same. There is a higher hand, source, power, guiding the way, and that knows that those in power are obligated, must adhere to social responsibility, doing right by others, demonstrating care for the least among us. And when we do, we flourish across the globe, around the globe, in unity, in collaboration, in compromise. We flourish, we advance. So we have that with these, and And this one, because you can't make it up either. Last but not least, the sun, the Sabian symbol for where the sun is in the astrological chart. And I'm just bringing the chart up really quickly so you can see. A daughter of the American Revolution. Its keynote, the prestige and conservatism of a long-maintained heritage. Here we have a symbol of the proud preservation of sociocultural values in a tradition. See, we're trying to cling to, so we have the daughters of the revolution, American Revolution, and this preservation of conservatism and maintained heritage, cultural values. After several generations, the ancestor who was perhaps a violent revolutionist or rebel rouser, or even a fugitive from justice, acquires a halo of respectability. The tradition that once was born of revolution now extols law and order, attempting to suppress any new forms of the same revolutionary spirit. This is the last symbol of the section of the cycle, referring mainly to the consolidation and concretization of life urges within a stable form of organization. In many instances, the scenes presented picture social activities or events, yet at this stage it is the individual person and the problems attendant upon their development that are primarily considered. There's a major convention going on right now, major votes going on around the world. This eighth scene with a keynote of consolidation began with the study of a traditional symbol for personality integration, the mandala. It ends with an example of what occurs when the individual chooses a path which totally embodies and glorifies tradition. A path which ends in a glorification of the past. The train comes into the station and it ends. A path which ends in a glorification of the past. When we are glorifying the past, we are not living in the present future. We are clinging and cleaving to an old way, an old era, an old tradition. Foregoing an open path, the way that delivers us. There were those Israelites at the time, after everything God had done, said, quote, we were better off with Pharaoh. So what they were saying to the Hebrew God, Yahweh, was, well, it's nice that you've done all of these things for us, but this is more difficult and challenging than what we knew, so we'll just go back and be enslaved, to be slaves under Pharaoh, because we know that's warm and comfortable and fuzzy. We have a good life there. Do you? Did you? Because the problem is, the one that Yahweh was leading them to, the promised land, the land of milk and honey, far outweighs, far surpasses, no comparison. They lacked faith. They lacked courage. They lacked determination. They lacked trust. The unseen is saying to us in this moment, I am that I am. There's a wake-up call. Dream a little dream of me. I have something better and greater for you. You simply must have the courage and take the leap of faith to move forward, move with me in unity, because I'm yelling timber. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. Because one train is leaving the station and the other glorifies the past, which is a path that ends. Until next week, be well, be kind. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all of those great things on the Dearjames, different social medias and so forth. I love you all. I am so grateful to be with you, and I look forward to seeing where this journey takes us.